Welcome to the 2021 WBBL Trophy Final preview. I'm now joined by head coach of the London Lions, Mark Clark. Mark, obviously the first final in a few years for you and the club. Just talk about how excited you are to be back on a showpiece stage once again.
Well, everyone would be lying if they weren't excited to be on a major final. Obviously, it's a little bit made me even more special, if you want, with former Barking people on the other bench in terms of Kenrick and Karen, and obviously Chris and Siobhan are really good friends, so that makes it even more special. And the added bonus, if you want, of having both a men's and women's team from the same program at the venue also makes it another special thing. But the most important thing is that we've got a great group of people, and they deserve this type of showpiece, and I'm sure we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, obviously it's a change roster this year. Obviously, the new ownership group for the whole club of London's obviously been a factor to that. But just talk a little bit about why this group's been able to mesh so quickly together and sort of hit the ground running all season long.
Well, I think that there's two things. One is that we brought together a lot of people who have played with each other in the past. They're bringing Shanice and Chantel back it helps. But when you've got quality people, putting things on the floor is pretty straightforward. And if you've got, in my opinion, the best guard in the country in Kennedy Leonard, taking care of what we're running on the floor, it is like having a coach on the floor. Obviously, Cassie's a great shooter. They complement each other very, very well. And Paige, in her first year as a pro, is learning all the time. And even though we lost the other day, had probably our most effective game for us. And she's becoming a factor. And then you got that nice balance then of obviously Valentina helps with her experience of college basketball in the States and on the international level. But then a nice mix with young players from the academy at Barking, and it's always exciting to have a great talent on the floor. 15 Ines is somebody that's hopefully going to be around British basketball for a long time.
Yeah, obviously you briefly mentioned Wednesday. I don't want to go too much into the game, but just talk about, obviously it was such an intense game, went all the way down the stretch. How does that help to build from that experience straight into a final, which is going to kind of almost be the same type of pressure and probably intensity?
Well, players love big games. So getting into the right habits, making the right decisions under pressure is something you can get better at. And I think we learned a lot on Wednesday. Up until then, whenever we've been faced with that situation, we've come up with the right decisions at the right time. Obviously, Seven Oaks have got enormous experience, and they made some good decisions down the stretch. The game could have gone either way, as you saw. But getting into the right habits, the right decisions, trusting each other, and there's nothing like being in those situations for real to actually get good at doing it. And so that it can only be a positive. The result's a tough one to take, but you win or you learn, and we learned a lot on Wednesday about ourselves. We came out on Thursday practice and probably had one of our best practices. So I'm pretty comfortable about it. It's another game for Chantel to have played in terms of the recovery from the ankle. So yeah, apart from the actual 3-point margin, everything was good.
Obviously, Chantel struggled a little bit down the stretch when she couldn't finish the game. Obviously, it sounds like she's obviously still on the mend, but are you happy that she's in a good position with her recovery to be a real contributing factor, maybe an X factor for you in this final?
Chantel's always an X factor for us. That's why we've tried to, and we have rushed her back. I mean, she's rushed herself back, and in an ideal world, she wouldn't have played for the last 3 weeks. But we've got some quality minutes out of her in various games. She's finding it. She's found it hard. But the good news for us is that she came out of the game on Wednesday really well, even though, as you saw, she wasn't Chantel Charles at 100%. But 75% Chantel Charles is an X factor in the WBBL, and not only from how she plays, but what she brings in terms of some real stability and leadership in the group.
So, Mark, obviously you've beaten Nottingham twice this season. I know you won't be looking at the result as much as the performance and things you've learned, but Looking at this Nottingham side, what are your biggest takeaways from the 2 games you've played with them already?
Well, firstly, they're a really good basketball team. They've got 2 of the leading players statistically in the league, and they've got a core of players that are experienced. No one's more experienced in the league than Siobhan Pryor. Tia Freeman's a really talented young British player. It's always good to see players with that profile doing well. In the backcourt, in addition to Strumpet, they obviously Costa's a good guard. So they've got talent across the floor. They're really balanced. And as you say, the 2 wins in the league, that's all they are. They're 2 wins in the league. This is a completely different game. It's something, any cliche you want to roll out applies. It's a lot easier if you're the team that's lost twice in some ways to prepare and try and change things. We've got to go out and do exactly the same things we did in the previous 2 games, and that starts at the defensive end. And we've made statements to that end in both games.
Yeah, I think one of the matchups for certainly people at home that watching that haven't maybe seen the league games is obviously the defense of Shanice Norton-Beckford in particular on Chelsea Strumpet. Obviously, you have to throw more than one body at Chelsea a lot of the time, so that's the matchup you've kind of gone to. But Shanice as a whole on the defensive end, just what does she give to this team, and how can she change the game on that end of the floor for you?
Well, she has a lot of physical attributes that obviously enables her to play defense. But like any pro, her attitude as a professional at the defensive end is absolutely fundamental. She doesn't play one-on-one defense. She plays within the team structure. She forces the ball where we want the ball to go, and she buys into being a player that makes a contribution to how the team wants to play defense. But she's just an exceptionally quick an athlete that's got a great engine. But it's not a one-on-one situation, as you indicated. That's not how we play our defense. We've got individual responsibilities within what we're trying to do as a team.
And obviously, an area, and it certainly looked like you addressed between the first game and the second game, was dealing with the offensive glass, especially Jasmine Joyner, who I know you alluded to after the first game when we spoke post game, that she is someone that's really difficult to keep off the glass. So how much of a team responsibility is that in trying to slow down a great offensive rebounder compared to just the individuals of the one-on-one bigs that are generally matched up with her?
Yeah, there's no team in the league that has played Jasmine Joyner one-on-one on the glass and won, because she's a coach's dream as a player when it comes to that aspect, because you don't have to run very many things for her. She gets a lot of things for herself just by the fact that she rebounds incredibly well. Whoever's actually got her at any point, your job isn't to rebound. Your job is to box her out and keep her off the glass. But it's a team thing. If you get shots taken from the areas of the floor that you want your opponent to take them, you've got good balance on the defensive glass, and even if it's in her scoring over, boxing her out, that's the key.
And on the offensive end, you've had some success, but you've done it against Nottingham in particular in a multitude of ways. Just talk about how diverse this offense is and how confident you are that you can go to anyone on the floor and just sort of almost pick and choose where you think you can get success on that particular possession.
Well, I think that's a credit to two things. One is the players and the decisions they make. Life's not difficult when you have a quality point guard to get the ball where you want to get the ball. We get the ball there, in a lot of ways. You've got to try and take us out of that. But the most important thing is that the players make decisions then. I mean, our offense is very much player led. And so, you saw, the first game is a great example. Cassie went for 20 plus in the first half, didn't really score in the second half, but they made an adjustment, and we countered that adjustment with other people taking their options. So we are a tough ask because we've got a number of people who can score. But I think it's the fact that we share the ball and try and get the ball into areas where we have advantage. And if you do that with the ethic that we have, then you're taking shots where you should be shooting good percentages, and we like to take a lot of shots. So that enables us to hopefully score a lot of points.
Obviously, being a final, Sky have mic'd some players up in the past. Certainly this year, obviously, it's another huge addition to the league as a whole. But obviously, this being a sort of a mid Sunday afternoon tip on Sky. But who do you think the fans, if you had a choice, would be really interested in hearing from your team from a mic'd up perspective?
That's a good question. I think that there's two contrasting. You can just listening to Kennedy Leonard lead a floor would be a great opportunity for people. But also, we're very. I've been involved with a number of programs over the years, and our attitude is very, very aggressive. So you can pick any one of our guys. If you'd have mic'd us up in the Leicester game, they were playing hard and they talk a little bit in a positive and emotional way. And so there's some fun things that people would hear. So you can pick any one of our guys, I think. But from a perspective of trying to maybe learn a little bit, then you mic Kennedy up. It's like having someone coach and commentate on the floor for you, because she's her basketball IQ is pretty high.
There you go. We've given Ant Rowe the afternoon off. Then he can just worry about the men's game.
Yeah. Hey, and the thing is, maybe with obviously Siobhan on the Nottingham lineup, maybe we don't need anyone on a microphone. Siobhan can do it from one end, and we can give it to Kennedy, Aaron. They can probably talk halfway, and then maybe get some analysis during the game.
There you go. Yeah, so I mean, Siobhan well enough that obviously may just need to be having a little mute button somewhere every now and again, but yeah, it certainly would be good. Well, Mark, thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck on Sunday.
Yeah, thanks very much, and I hope the game is a great advert for the game, and Sky doing a really nice job at setting it up. The cup final was good. Let's hope the trophy game is as good.